What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, back with another video, and this time around we are going to hit all the hottest niches for Thanksgiving. So I know usually when I actually do this video, I just kind of blast this and show you guys real brief. This time I'm going to deep dive into it and show you exactly which sub niches are going to be fire for Thanksgiving. So without further ado, I'm pretty pumped about this. I hope you're pretty pumped about this. And I do want to say this, although I have not made a Kindle Direct publishing video in quite some time, this whole rest of the couple weeks will be devoted to that. I was just throwing up several tests, putting up several books, and now finally some of that data is coming back. So as always, I'm always out in the lab testing things for you guys, and I've got some fantastic new tools that you can use for that and some fantastic new tricks. So that stuff is coming up very soon. However, in the meantime, I'm still showing the other things that I'm doing. So there's plenty of love for everyone out there, and that's why I'm going to show you this video on what's hottest for Thanksgiving. So without further ado, let's just do this. All right, so we're here in my favorite actual tool to do all this stuff. And you guys know that I've shown you before Market Intelligence, but this particular one is Helium 10 Blackbox. So what we're gonna do is, again, we're gonna take our virtual time machine, we're gonna pretend we're a Marty McFly and go back in time with good old Doc, whatever in the hell his name is. All I know is that they had that sweet ass DeLorean that I'm always calling a Lamborghini, and that just goes to show you how much I paid attention during the movie, which is not a lot. Same amount of attention I usually pay to anything that I do. So let's go ahead and jump in here and see what happens. So I'm in Blackbox, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my magic criteria. And I will say this much, I changed up the criteria a little bit for this video just to kind of show you guys that it really works any which way. It just depends on how you want to do it. So I'll point out what I actually did, but all I basically did is go to the products tab, and I did select the category of books because obviously we want to see only things from books. Now, taking it a step further, what I actually did is I looked for the best sales period in November 2019, since again, the target holiday here is Thanksgiving. A lot of people might say like, Liz, I don't think that any Thanksgiving books would sell. Like, that's kind of insane. But the reality is people like to buy shit. So people will buy just about everything. That's why pretty much anybody in America has become a hoarder. A hoarder. Notice I said that, a hoarder. So let's take a look at this. We got November, and usually what I will do is I will go out here and I will put a couple keywords, do something of that nature. But I am going to put Thanksgiving in the title because I feel like if we're looking specifically for Thanksgiving books, it's 100% going to have Thanksgiving in the title. Now, you can also vary this by putting diary, journal, coloring book, activity book, and really niche down and figure out what's selling within those sub niches of sub niches. Hopefully that makes sense. And then I hit the search button and we magically grab all these. Now, pay close attention. I did actually order these by the total amount of sales. And now, well, it's going to show the total amount of sales right now at this very moment. So this Charlie Brown book is currently making about $3,800 in monthly revenue and selling about 794 books. The reality is, once Thanksgiving comes into play, that shit's going to fly off the shelf faster than all 5 Xbox 5s available for the Black Friday sale fly off the shelf. That's how fast it's going to fly off the shelf. So we obviously don't want to look at Charlie Brown or Thanksgiving because we can't copy that. And you'll notice that once we kind of jump down into here, it'll start giving us some data. So for example, on the Charlie Brown book, last year it sold over 3,000 copies during that actual sales period of November. Now that does not include December or October, which could be really well. And right now, it's over 61% year over year. And we can also see the best sales period is November. So sales to reviews merely means that the number of sales to the number of reviews is a ratio of 4.5 to 1. So for every 4.5 sales it gets 1 review. So, all right, we've got that. That wouldn't make my top of the list, but here's one that does come into play. Now, this is the first niche that I'm going to talk about, and that is Baby's First Thanksgiving. So again, Liz, how do we make a book like this? What the hell can we do? Well, reality is, even though this is a board book, which is kind of one of those little hard books that you can knock on and pretty much hear it all the way across the room, you could create a Baby's First Thanksgiving book by making it a fill-in book. Now, I know we covered the fill-in books before. We went over them during Mother's Day and Father's Day, where you say something special about your own mom or pop. So let me give you an example. It might say, I love it when me and mom do blank. And then the end user or the person that purchases the book will fill that in. Same thing for Baby's First Thanksgiving, Baby's First Words, or some bullshit like that. And now you could just click into this book and actually see what is actually in it. But this is a board book. I would go back and look at the mom and dad fill-in books to really figure out what people are doing. This is a board book, so it's probably going to tell a story about a turkey that is a baby or something of that nature. Now again, if we take a look at the actual data on this one sold 2,500 copies. It's 64% year over year, which means the sales are much higher, and that's probably because of COVID. So thanks to COVID, our book should be selling 64% higher. And you'll see all the other data here. November 2019, sales to reviews, 2.63 to 1. It's got quite a bit of reviews, so it's doing very well. And over 2,500 books sold in a single month back in November. So that's niche number one. Let's keep going and maybe we can find something else. I know for a fact we can because I looked here earlier. I'm not going to lie. And here we have Bad Kitty Does Not Like Thanksgiving. Now this is a fantastic idea for some kind of coloring or activity book. And now the reality here is while we cannot make one that's called Bad Kitty Does Not Like Thanksgiving, I can think about 100 other animals that are bad that do not like Thanksgiving. And I can think of about 100 different other things that do not like Thanksgiving. So you could do something to that degree. Again, this one had 3,700 sales. And it sells at $5.99, and it sales year over year. It's not available because this is the first year that it's actually available. So that's why that information is not available. The sales trend is it's up 357% over the past 90 days. So this book hasn't been available for 90 days, but it goes to show that it's going to crush, right? So that's Bad Kitty Does Not Like Thanksgiving. That's the second one that I kind of like. It's just like an animal that doesn't like Thanksgiving, right? Here's another first Thanksgiving book. That's not baby, that's just first. And here we have our first coloring book that pops up. This particular coloring book is going to pop in at number 3, and it's a Happy Thanksgiving coloring book specifically for toddlers. So we're talking about the terrible twos, we're talking about the little ones, we aren't talking about the bigger ones. And this one is very specifically for toddlers, and you'll see that last year it sold almost 923, and best sales period is November, but right now it's in at about $1,191. And sales to review, the higher this is, the better and less competitive the actual niche is. So this just basically means that for every 7 sales, there's about 1 review. So that's good if you're actually thinking of jumping into the niche. That means it's a niche that can be jumped into and can be penetrated. So that's fantastic. So here we go to the next one is Thanksgiving activity book, pages, coloring pages, word puzzles, mazes, dots. So this is a whole plethora of Thanksgiving mumbo jumbo, right? And on this particular one, we will notice that this one had 2,100 sales, and right now it's falling in about 1,351. Sales to review, notice this one's very low, 1 to 2. So for every 2 sales, there's been 1 review, which basically means this one is a tougher niche. So that's kind of how you have an idea of how the niches are, how competitive they are, or if you can jump into a niche and put reviews on there, how hard is it actually going to be to do that. So look at that sales to review ratio. Now, that's already 4 pretty darn good niches. Here's another one about Bright Baby. So again, the baby Thanksgiving niche is fantastic. This one, 1,200 sales, 14% over year. So the baby niche is definitely fire. So we're talking about baby and Thanksgiving. Let's keep going and see if we see anything else. Here is another Thanksgiving coloring book for kids ages 2 to 5, which again kind of fits along the lines of a little older than toddlers. So again, any of these coloring books for kids, just make sure you kind of sort them out by ages, are doing fantastic. This is a brand new one, but it's already popping up and it's already doing $1,000 a month for this particular one. It's already at $38,000 and I'm 38,000 BSR. So this one, I would keep this one on my radar and take a look and see what it does. All right, now here's our first instance of Thanksgiving adult coloring books, which is fantastic because it just goes to show that even adults are buying this shit during Thanksgiving, which is kind of crazy. We all indulge during Thanksgiving, as do adults and kids. And this one in particular, adults are not indulging as much, seeing as this only sold 449 copies last year. And its sales are up over 151% in the past 90 days, but it's already clocking in at over $1,000 in a month and at 33,000 BSR. So adults need love too. That's why the adults are clocking in on the Thanksgiving charts. Let's keep going and see if we see anything else on page 2. But we already have about 6, so that's already pretty fantastic that we can see that much in the first 2 pages. We'll see what we can come up with all the way to the 3rd page. Here we have another adult coloring book. Again, the other one was Mandela pages. This one looks a little different. This one had 291 sales last year, but already almost 100% over sales year over year, and it's making about $600. So again, adults and their coloring books are not as popular as kids from a perspective of dollar and money wise. And also, like, look at this review, 1.49, which means it's kind of a little bit more competitive in the sense of it's harder to break into versus some of the kids ones. Thanksgiving parade, little Thanksgiving stickers. Let's see what else we can find. Here's another one that I wanted to share with you guys. This is holiday jokes for kids. But here's a pretty ingenious thing that they did. So I want you guys to pay close attention to this. Although it's not getting a lot of sales, let me show you what they basically did. They basically created a jokes book for kids for holidays, and they made it evergreen. Now you might be wondering, Liz, how in the hell did they make it evergreen? And what the hell does evergreen mean? Evergreen means that it's alive the entire year, and that's simply because of the fact that they blended all of the holidays together. And they said, these are not only jokes for Thanksgiving, but there's also jokes for Easter, Halloween, and Christmas. And it's for kids aged 7 to 102. So they basically made this book, it's a big cauldron of everything, like a witch's brew of jokes for every single holiday. And this thing is selling. It's got 54 current sales right now in the past 30 days, I'm imagining, $321, but it sold 500 books last year. So it's a fantastic idea for how to blend a book that's truly supposed to be seasonal into a book for all the season long, which is evergreen. Okay, so let's keep going and see what else. Here again is another coloring activity book with mazes and stuff. It's got pies, it's got pumpkins, it's got pilgrims on top of its cover. So fantastic, $688. Sold 500 copies last year, doing pretty well. And here again, now we've got Thanksgiving word search puzzles and a bunch of activity books now popping up. We got these two popping up, both doing equally as well, and they're matching each other about every single way, other than this one had slightly more sales, which is a turkey. What a surprise. There's a turkey on the cover for Thanksgiving. That's pretty much going to be a wrap. I mean, I think that there's an I Spy book here that is brand new, so we really can't tell how well that's going to do. And here again is a coloring book for kids. 50 coloring pages, again doing quite well last year, 797. And here we have, for the first time, is a word search puzzle. So 200 total copies sold last year, right now doing pretty decently, and it's pretty plain. It's just like a crossword puzzle, and then a turkey, what a surprise, a turkey pops up at the bottom. Not surprised about that. And then here we have, this is kind of funny, a keto Thanksgiving and Christmas coloring book to cap it off. But as you can see, even keto books selling well in the Thanksgiving niche. And that's pretty much a wrap. Pretty much the rest of them are just plain old Thanksgiving joke books and Thanksgiving word mazes and coloring books and things of that nature. So again, questions and comments below. This is one of my favorite techniques to be able to spy on what happened last year, because chances are if it happened last year, it's going to continue to happen this year, and you're going to see a lot of the same actual books pop up, or books that look similar to those, and there's a reason for that, right? Obviously, stealing like an artist is one of the best tactics out there right now for both merch and KDP. So hopefully you found this video very helpful. And again, questions or comments below, I always personally answer them. Other than that, peace out. Hope you enjoyed.